Dedication to the sea, to the sea. One of the things that I was quite interested in relationship to Folkestone and the history of Folkestone actually was the blessing of the fisheries. The blessing of the fishery is an event that has taken place since 1893. It takes the form of a long procession, which I think is not that long anymore, from the church to the state via North Street and Ratner Street. The idea of a dedication or a blessing as a way of approaching somewhere in both gratitude and promise, as a way of creating, I don't know, a form of safety, perhaps, for those who come after you, right, for the future, I thought was really evocative and actually quite beautiful. The work Dedication is actually a fragmented work. It's a sculpture that takes place in several sites. They are these steel sculptures in the shape of signals or wayfinding urban furniture. These are models that were made by the fabricator of the piece, Flux Metal. It was quite useful for me to see how they might move and how the different groups would actually rotate in the wind. The work uses, first of all, a vocabulary of signposting and wayfinding that is completely recognizable. So there's a vocabulary of shapes which I think is not unfamiliar. And that's a way that I think the work potentially also blends into existing systems or languages. I first looked into this nautical or maritime signal language by looking at a Turner painting, the Battle of Trafalgar, that has the boat that I think was called the Fighting Temeraire that supposedly Nelson was on when he died. And there are these flags on the masts that seem to carry these very specific graphic shapes, colored graphic shapes. And when I looked into it, I realized it actually spells out a message that supposedly were his last words to his troops or to mankind or to humans everywhere, unclear. It's supposed to read something like, "I trust that every man will do his duty." There's something kind of absurd and archaic about this idea of a military language that would allow you to fight and also talk with others everywhere. This is how this visual language articulates messages that, of course, most people wouldn't be able to read now, but nevertheless are contained in the work. As a way of talking to the different communities that use the sea in conflicting ways, I thought of the figure of Rosa Luxemburg as a figure that is so important for the workers everywhere. Sometimes what unites people, or what people have in common, even though it might be in completely different ways, is the fact that the sea is their place of work. And there's a capacity to inhabit the sea by being on it, or in it, or on the edge of it, that somehow defines these different ways of working. The sea is a site for living, swimming, fishing, sailing, rest, and contemplation. A border to be crossed, a site of fear, of pleasure, of work, and a home.